In this video, I want to show you how to use the Matisse Staining Studio together with Optishade. The first thing that you need is the picture that you receive from the dentist with Optishade. So the picture I already received, so it's in my gallery here. So studio staining. This is a picture of the target tooth that I received. So I will try to replicate this tooth using Matisse Staining Studio. So the next step in the process is to make a photo of the crown, of the full monolithic crown on the aesthetic model with Optishade. So when using the Matisse Staining Studio, it's important to always replicate the aesthetic model because it's important to see how much the color of the preparation is influencing the crown. So what you do always, put some liquid, glaze liquid inside, and then place it back on the aesthetic model. We also made a specific video how to make the aesthetic model. You can see it as well on YouTube. Okay, so now let's switch Optishade. Let's switch it on. Connect to your phone. Then click on the button for 3 seconds and release. Okay, Optishade is already switched on. Now we go to measure and then we select the patient here. So click on unnamed and then select the right patient. So now we'll take an image of the crown on the aesthetic model. Always make sure that when you take the picture with Optishade that the neighbor teeth are in contact with Optishade, so you should be fully touching the neighbor teeth with Optishade. Then position the tooth in the middle of the screen. Block the light with your hand because we don't want external light entering the image. And then once you find the right position, keep Optishade steady and then click on the button. So you can click on the button on the device or on the button here in the app. Okay, so the picture is taken now. So to use the Matisse Staining Studio, we need 2 images. The target tooth and the crown on the aesthetic model. So I go back here, I go to gallery, then I select the patient. So I have all the images in the same folder. I click on edit and then I select the images that I want to share to Matisse. So I click on share and then I click on share Matisse. And then from here I can airdrop it or email it or send it to Dropbox. So I will airdrop these images. So now I can drag and drop this file drag and drop this file in Matisse or click here on the plus icon to open these files. When using the Matisse Staining Studio, you can decide to select the material for the crown yourself, to choose zirconia or lithium disilicate. If you do that, please make sure that you always select brighter colors. You can start with bleach colors. You can start with always start brighter. So the luminosity should be brighter than the target color. If you want the direction what material to use or what ingot to use, what zirconia to use, you can also go get recipe, framework, and then in this step you can select full monolithic crown, select your materials, available space, and then you can measure, for example, the preparation color. This is not the preparation color, but you have to upload a preparation color. You can measure the target. So this is just an example, and then generate recipe, and then you will get advice what framework to use, what framework material. So let's go to Staining Studio here. Select the select the full monolithic crown and the target tooth. So this is the staining studio. In the staining studio, you can select the different stains and ceramic paste that we have in the system. And you can get different kind of recipes. You can get recipes for the base color. So for the cervical, middle, incisal. You can get recipes to do some fine details. Light absorption, light diffraction, mamelons. So light absorption are more the darker areas. Light diffraction, the brighter. So you can highlight them. Then you have the mamelon and halo. And then the translucent details on the incisal edge, like amber opal, more orange. Enamel effects, more discolorations, and then blue opal, like the line angles and the illusion of depth on the incisal edge. So let me show you how this works. So you select the staining brand that you want to use. So we have Ifocolor, Essence, we have Empress, Noritake stains, CZR, FC Paste Stain, GC Spectrum, GC IQ1, Mio Color, Biomic, Shofu Vintage Art, GC OptiGlaze, Ceramotion. For this example, we will use GC IQ1, the luster paste. So I click here on the GC IQ1, and then I will select first my base color, so cervical, middle, incisal. So select the button here. Click on the cervical area and then on the crown. If you want to close it, you can do it here. So let me show you again. You click on the button, first on the target tooth, and then on the crown on the static model. That's one. In the middle, incisal. Then you can get some recipes for the details. For example, let's start with the depth, so blue opal. So we click on the blue opal. We click there and then here. So L4, L10. The mamelons, for example. Okay. So now it's basically preparing the stains, painting them, and then measuring with Optishade, comparing with the target tooth to see how close we are. So let me prepare the recipes. So to prepare the recipes, Smilon is developing a special portioner for ceramic paste and for stain powders to have the recipes as accurately as possible. You can position on your glass plate. So what you basically do is for the cervical area, we need 3 times LB and 2 times LV. So we have to prepare this here. So 2 times LV, and you can see actually how easy this works. So you take this. So you take these gaps and you fill it. So we need 2 times. Make sure you fill it correctly. So it's very easy, intuitive. So this is for the LV. Now I need LB as well. So I need to fill 3 gaps. 1, 2, 3. So now I have 2 times LV, 3 times LB, and I just remove it very easily. You can see. So this is my cervical mix actually. And I will do the same for middle and incisal. So my mixtures are ready. Now we have to stain the crown. So when you paint the crowns, please look at the staining intensity in the recipe. Here, if you go on the on this circle here, it says approximately the thickness of the layer. So you know approximately, you know, to start a little bit thinner or thicker. Then you can use a brush to paint it, or you can use this rubber point to add, to control the thickness and have a very efficient way of applying the stains on the crown. Also, this will be in the staining kit that Smilan is developing. So I use this rubber tip to easily control the stains. It's basically like painting dentin layers. So this is cervical. Now I will apply the middle, so you can see how easy this works actually. So we start with white, and we can stain it actually wherever we want to. And then let's paint the incisal. Okay, now we can add the blue opal first. So now we paint the blue opal. So it was like this white, but now it's painted in a color with a very thin layer. So now we'll personally I like to bake this separately and then add like details, fine details. But if you you can also add them now. For example, you can put some very thin mamelons on it. But the question is, I painted it now, but how precise is the color now, right? So we'll use Optishade to see how the color is of our staining. So we'll verify the step with Optishade. So let's switch Optishade on. Go to measure, select the patient. Okay, so now let's go to compare and compare with the target tooth. So you can see that we are with a very thin paint, we are already on Delta 2. We can still perfect it. So now the paste is still wet on the crown. And I can add a little bit more or remove and perfect it before firing it. So here it's 2.2 and I can add a little bit more chroma, so I can use the same staining recipe and apply a little bit more. Also in the middle I can apply a little bit more. Incisally as well. The translucency is very nice. So you can see we are incisally Delta 1, 1.4, 2.8. So you can see how efficient and easy it is. And let me add a little bit more chroma. So I will just use the same recipe and apply it a little bit thicker to have a perfect match. So I apply, you can see how quickly it goes. And I measure again. So to start the camera, because Optishade is still on, you click on the button and you can quickly take an image. Okay, now let's compare again. So we are now Delta 1.11. So it becomes even closer. Delta 1.88, 1.5. Cervically it's 2, because the red is a little bit less, but that's fine. When the crown goes in the mouth, the red will increase a little bit more because of the gum. It's really amazing how quickly and precise this works. Starting from a white background, painting it to whatever color you need, painting it to whatever color you want. Yeah, so this is going to be my first bake, and then after the bake I can work on more details. So you can use different techniques with Staining Studio. You can paint your full monolithic crowns. You can do micro layering, right? Micro layering is that you have when you have a minimum cutback of 0.3 to 0.5 millimeters. You paint it with Staining Studio. And when you paint it, you bring the color already to the final color. So I will fire this, and then I can glaze it and finish it. So our crown is fired now, it looks very nice. And now what we can do again is to measure with Optishade and to see the match after firing, because after firing it, the color is always changing a little bit. So what you can do in this step is you can verify the color match, how good it is. And if you want, you can again make a photo from this step, upload it in the Staining Studio and get some correction recipes if needed. Or if you want to work on some details to perfect it, you can do that as well. If this step is already perfect, what you can do is you can glaze it and fire it to have a final product. Or you can do a very thin enamel bake or a skin bake to make it to give more depth to your results. So let me first make a photo. So again, I open mobile app, Optishade mobile app. Switch on Optishade. Go to measure, select the folder, and let's make a picture. Okay, so let's compare. So you can do the compare in the mobile app, or you can upload these images in the Matisse software as well to check it on a bigger screen. So we can now compare the colors, the crown compared with the natural tooth. So we can see a delta E of 0.94. It's less than 1% the color difference. So it's a perfect match actually. So 0.94. If you want to move the two squares simultaneously, you can lock this screen. If you want to do it separately, you can do it like this. So let's look cervically. 1.8. 1.65, 1, delta 2, and then let's look at incisally. 1.92, so you can see that overall we are lower than delta 2 with a very thin staining layer actually. So what is important in this step is that you compare the crown with the natural tooth and see the overall color match, and you can obviously work on details in this step. So this is a perfect match for me. If the color is perfect like this, you can go to the next step, which is only doing a glaze bake. Or if you want to do an enamel bake, you can go to Matisse, get recipe Matisse, and then enamel, select the target tooth, select the ceramic that you want to use, and then just select enamel type. For example, translucent, click on the tooth, and then it will show you which enamel to use, and you can cover it very thin, 0.2, 0.3 with a very thin enamel as a skin, and finish the results. So this was the video about how to use Matisse Staining Studio with Optishade. As you can see, it's very easy, very efficient to achieve a perfect match. And with this feature, you can basically skip the step of ceramic layering, skip the step of dentin layering and internal effects, and basically stain it with the help of Optishade and Matisse Staining Studio. And this way you are efficient, more precise, and then you can still layer the enamel bake and still achieve very natural looking results.